check it out. Today I got the planer out, and I'm going to plane this board right here. This is a piece of rough cut cherry. I cut on the sawmill actually it's been over a year, so it was probably the beginning of last year. So it's been setting for about a year. So it's ready to run through the planer and see what kind of board I'm going to get out and what it's going to look like. This one here is about 5 inches, about 1 1/8 to almost 1 1/4, so it's about a little over 1 1/8. Let's go with that. But then after I get it planed down, I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna show you guys run through the plane. After I get it planed down, I'm gonna take it and put it in the shop. I'm gonna cut the edges off of it and let you guys see what this wood's gonna look like when it's finished. There's different types of sander. You can sand it, but the planer is gonna do a pretty good job on it. So the sanding would be something that you would wanna just put a little bit more effort into it to make it, the way you want to look, or run it through like planers, not planers, but routers or whatever like that. But today I wanted to explain to you before I get this started about rollers. I know a lot of people I know personally that can't read a roller, and it's not hard to read a roller, but you can also buy rollers that help you. Or if you know how to read a roller, and sometimes you forget, you know what I mean. I buy these things because if somebody's working with me, I tell them the measurement, they automatically know. And I prefer people, if they're going to work with me, we're going to do, put up a small building or something like that, that they have one of these rollers just to make sure that when I call out the measurements, they're going to know. So let me get you a close up on this, and I'll let you see what I'm talking about. That anybody can read a roller. It's not what they think. And you might know this kind of rollers out there, and you might not. But let me show you. Okay, here you go. This one here I picked up at one of the stores, of course. But what it does for you is, let me see if I can see it here. What it kind of does for you is, if you can look at the roller, let me get a little closer, and you'll see the measurements. A bunch of numbers on here. And it makes it real easy to read. So you have, your 1/8 inch here, 1/4 inch, and so it's a 7/8 to 1 inch. I'm only doing it up here, showing you up here, because down here it has this piece of metal on the road. So I'm using these ones for example. But say I need a 1 1/2 board cut. Well, you got, of course, you measure from the end here to 1 1/2. So 1 1/2 would be right here. You can see there's a little 1/2 inch numbers right there. But that makes it really nice, because if somebody comes out and say, well, hey, what's let's say 1 7/8. What is 1 7/8? Well, you can use this roller by measure from this end here to 1 inch. You see the inch here, and then bypass it, and then there's a 7/8 right here. And it makes it where anybody can read a roller. So don't feel bad if somebody picks up a roller and they say, hey, do you know what 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch is? When you can just buy one of these rollers, and you can pick them up anywhere, but just check your rollers when you buy them, open them up, and see if these numbers are on it here. So it'd be easier for you to explain or tell somebody that what measurement it is if somebody calls out that number and asks you to do something like that. And like I said, I like when people work with me. I do like people to carry a roller around like this, because if I throw out a measurement, then they're going to go, oh, okay, that's what he meant, instead the wrong measurement, because you can't really afford too many different cuts. It costs too much nowadays. But nice rollers. Like I said, you can pick them up pretty much anywhere. You can get them bigger than this. This is only 16 foot. I really like this, and I like the smaller ones on my side. If I'm going to do something really long, you get 25, 30 feet, or on, it gets bigger than that, longer than that. But 16 is really good to have on your side to measure. I got a couple of these, and I'll even tell my wife here, get the roller, and she'll pull out the roller and go, I'll give her a measurement, and she'll find it. You know what I'm saying? So it's that easy. Okay. All right, let's get back to the lumber here. Okay. First of all, before before I start, this is going to be pretty loud, and I need to crank it down. Now, the reason why I got this sitting on the floor, I don't have my stand for it. It's up to the other building, and I think this will be just fine. And you know, to see what this wood's going to look like. I don't have to plane it down too much. But then, like I said, I'm going to explain to you what I'm going to do to the sawdust afterwards. So let me go ahead and put this down. Now these are really loud, so I'm going to put some headsets on here in a second. Because this thing will hurt your ears. Let's see, let's get it started. Down here. That's down to the 1 inch mark. See? So I got more than an inch. Bring it up a little bit. Walk it down. Make an inch or 3/4 of an inch. I have about a 1/16 of an inch more. Let's see if I can take a little. If I take a little off both sides, I could do that. Very, very little. If you want to get precise, let's try that. I was looking at this one, and so I was going to cut a piece of cherry, and I have a piece up there. I'm still going to cut it. But this one here was a piece of oak I had laying beside me. But you can see how gorgeous this piece of wood is. Now this is something come out of the mill. So I cut this board last year, this lumber. So we're going to go ahead and keep this one to off the side. I have 3/4 inch here, and then like I said, when I take it in the shop, I'm going to cut it down a little bit right here. And then I'm going to get a cherry piece of wood, and I still want to run cherry because I have some up there, and see what it's going to look like. Isn't that beautiful piece of wood right there? And it's even going to look better when I cut the edges down and make it a size. And then it's ready to be used. Anything. But if you go to sawmill, like I said, make sure the board's a little bit bigger than an inch, because you'll be able to run it. And if you got one of these planers, you can pick these planers up for a couple $100, and you can make your own lumber and your own shelving, different things like that. So okay, let me get a piece of cherry, and I'll run a piece of cherry through here. Piece of oak board, come out really beautiful. And now I have a piece of cherry, and this one's going to have to be cut up a little bit. I'll probably end up maybe about a 4 or 5 foot piece out of this that I'll really be pleased with. And you'll get to see what it's going to look like. Now cherry is some real pretty wood. It's a red wood. What I just cut was white oak. White oak's very expensive wood if you go into the stores and buy them. Cherry, you can't. I don't even think you can get them unless it's a special. It would have to be a special type order wood if they sold cherry. But I'll go ahead and run this through here, and then we're going to see what this one looks like. So once I get it started, and then like I said, maybe we'll get about a 4 or 5 foot piece out of this one. So okay, let me get this in here started. Put my headset back on. Okay, there you go. Now, like I said, I'll get some of. I couldn't keep playing it down because then I'm going to be even below ½ inch. That's what I explained to you about when you buy this wood. You know, if you happen to buy it from a sawmill, you would, because this board here was a 1-inch board when we first started out, and then it had such a cup in it, as I was explaining before, it had such a cup inside of it, like a bow, that I had to plane it down, and it's down to a ½ inch. So you're not going to get the 3/4 inch out of it, but if it was an 1.25 inches, I'd be able to cut this down, and definitely got that bow out of that board, and got myself a real nice piece of 3/4 inch. But since I couldn't do that, I'm down there to about ½ inch. Let's double check it. It might be a little bit bigger than ½ inch. Sometimes my gauge on a thing, I can't see it, but we're down to exactly 5/8 of an inch. So I had to go below 3/4, but that's okay because the board's still useful. But you can see how pretty the cherry does. Got some little bit designs here, I guess you want to call it. And then the wood, it almost, if you look at, now if I would clear coat this, it would actually kind of shine in a way, like a, I don't know what you want to call it, but real beautiful wood. Now this is one from the sawmill too, and it's just some scraps, and I don't like throwing them away because I have the other tools to finish them up and make some nice little boards out of. So excuse me, and I'm going to end up taking this down to the shop and cutting that up. Now, what I was telling you before, what I was going to do with this, and I prefer the cherry. The reason why, because it chips off a lot bigger than the oak. The oak doesn't. But what I use this for is when I do my honeybees, I put this in the smoker. It burns really nice. I've had chips of wood in it. I've had paper in it. I had cloth in it. I had everything in it. But this always seems to do the best. This chips like this here. And I'll just fill my smoker up and light it, and it'll kind of go out, and I'll be able to go treat my bees. Go inside the box without them madly beat me to death, telling me I'm not supposed to be in there. But that's what I use this for, and that's one of the reasons today's project was to set the planer up to get this, because I'm out of this. But I do like the bigger chips like this. That works really well in your smokers. And so if you know anybody that, you know, if you're a beekeeper, you know anybody that has a small, you know, wood shop or something, I'm telling you, the cherry is the best to burn. I really like burning cherry. So, okay, I'll go ahead and get these boards, and we'll go down to the shop and cut them up and see what pieces of wood we can get out of it. This is a piece of poplar here that I ran through the planer, and what I was telling you is just like small boards like this makes really nice shelves. But look how really nice this what it looks like. 2 colors. It's really beautiful. I've seen them actually where they had a little tint green in them. It was real pretty. But this is a poplar here, and I'm going to cut this down and make try to get about a 7-inch board out of this. So, okay, let's give her a shot here. Really nice shelf. All I have to do is maybe cut off the ends, to square up the ends, because this in here is not square. And I got a really nice shelf here. Good 7 inches across. Put some nice, maybe make some nice wooden brackets for it. take this and sand it down. You could take maybe a 220 sandpaper with a small palm sander and sand this down. And if you wanted to, you could probably sand the edges off of it a little bit around it, just a tiny bit. Let's set this thing up. Go ahead and get it. Take my measurement off of one of these boards here. So let's see what we can get out of that board. I can probably get a 5-inch across here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to square this up and get 5 inches out of it. So let's see where we got it now. So we got 5 3/8 right now. So let's see what we can do. Let's cut it. Let's take a 1/4 inch off of it this time and a 1/4 inch off of it again. We're going to see what this. Then this is oak. Okay, here's the piece of oak. Got a 5-inch across here, a 3/4 inch. The thickness is 3/4 inch, and I see how long we got this thing. We got a little over 5 foot, so we got about 64 inches. Not bad. Ooh, sawdust gets to me. About 64 inches in length, 5 inches across here, and 3/4 inch. So that's going to make really nice. Now, if you can see here, there was a hole right here, and I could putty that hole and then cut that off, you know, and sand it off, and I can make that hole look pretty nice. Or, you know, I could just leave it in there for a little bit of character of the wood. Now you can see here, sometimes knots are, you know, when you leave them in boards, if you're making baseboards or any kind of molding or anything, sometimes the knots look pretty nice in them. They just give it more of a natural look. So that's what I kind of left these knots in there for. Because if I use it for something like that, it's gonna be real pretty, you know. And I'll just seal that with a good lacquer. Okay, let me go for the cherry, and let's see what the cherry is gonna look like. The cherry board is here, and I got. What I got out of it, I like, was about 44 inches. I could cut it down to 36 later if I use it for a project. But I really like this section of board here. The other pieces I'll probably make something else out of. I know it was a really long board, but I really like the character of this piece of wood right here. So I'm going to cut this down. I got 6 inches across. Let's see if I can get a 6-inch wide out of this. I'm pretty sure we can. So it is a little bit longer. 6 is 6 3/8. I think the other one was 5 3/8. So let's try that. See what we can get. I always like picking the best side. Yeah. Cut it on the right side. put that down underneath there. Okay, here's the piece of cherry. Okay. There's a piece of poplar. And the oak. So today I have cut is a real nice piece of poplar wood. I love the color poplar. It's gorgeous wood. The same thing as a cherry. Cherry is a beautiful wood. You can see it's going to have a little bit of character in it. So that's going to be nice to do a nice little project with that. And then also, like I said, the oak. Oak's beautiful. This is a white oak. You buy this stuff in the store. Any of this wood in the store, it's very expensive. All you have to do is have a few tools of your own and maybe go to the sawmill and somebody has a sawmill and ask him. Say, hey man, you know, can you cut me some wood? But if you're going to run it through planer, just to mark it again, that you should have at least 1 inch and 1/8, 1 inch and 1/8 to get it cut down to 3/4 inch. Because if you don't, like I said, if the boards are not perfect straight, which they come from the mill, they're going to be wet, so you have to let them set for a year. So you don't want to waste your money and find out you're getting everything like I did here with this hat with a 5/8 instead of a 3/4 inch. But I can still use it as 5/8 if you want to use board. So, okay, there you go for the lumber.